So let me go ahead and do something real quick before we get started. I'm going to put this up on Facebook. See if I had another premiere on here. Okay. Move to trash. Because we all know where the trash goes. Alright. Praise YAH. So, before we get started, I want to give all thanks, honor, and glory to the Most High Elohim by saying hallelujah. And I wanted to get into these gender wars, right? Gender wars, psyops, and all of that. Because it seems to be on everybody's timeline and everybody's channel, everybody's algorithm. You can't escape it. It's everywhere, right? And I can understand how some people can get caught up in it because it's all over the place. You know, we're all guilty. I'm guilty anyways. I know. Okay. But you have to be able to separate yourself from that, right? If you want your life to be fulfilling and you want your life to be happy. Um, a lot of people need help. So where do we start? First, I'm gonna get off in your way, Israel. I'm getting off in your way, okay? I'm gonna get on your butt again. Why? Because you gonna listen. And you know why? Because you don't have a chance, you don't have a choice if you want to survive, right? Or you can choose not to listen. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter, you know. But um it's not the government's fault, first of all, that black people are against each other. Black men and women, um it's not their fault that we fail as a people. We fell way before their little government psyops. We fell. The government, okay, they're guilty for um, propagating and continuing the uh, instigation. They instigate, right? They spread uh, the spirit of confusion, and so they are guilty, and they're going to be held accountable for that, right? And coming up against the Most High's children. But are they responsible for us being the type of people that we are? Of course not, because we've been acting like hooligans since we were established as a people, right? That is how we ended up in this predicament in the first place, right? Like Malcolm X said, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. And how do you think that happened? How do you think that happened? Because we were once in this state of confusion like Babylon is today. How Babylon is today is how we used to be as a people. And we've always been this way. So let's read Isaiah 47. Let's read Isaiah 47, and then we'll get into all the gender war stuff and all of that. But first, we're going to talk about how we are, right, as a people. In Isaiah 47, starting in verse 1, it says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." Right? So you see the Most High does not value Babylon. The Most High is wroth with Babylon. Babylon is an enemy of the Creator. The Most High tells Babylon to come sit in the dust, sit on the ground. There is no throne. Why would you be on a throne, right? O daughter of the Chaldeans, for you shall no more be called tender and delicate. Why? Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover your locks, make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Your nakedness shall be uncovered. Yeah, your shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet you as a man. So the Most High is uncovering the nakedness of this harlot called Babylon, right? And where our people are today in the daughter of Babylon, it makes a lot of sense why we feel so comfortable. So let's go to verse Jeremiah, or let's go to Jeremiah 3, verse 1. Verse 1 of Jeremiah 3. And let's talk about Israel for a minute, right? See, because we talked about Babylon. Babylon, that's the ways of our people. That's the ways of the heathen. That's the ways those are the ways that we follow today. Let's go back. Let's take it back to Israel for a minute. So it says in Jeremiah 3, verse 1, they say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But you have played the harlot with many lovers. Yet return again to me, saith YAH. So this is the MO of our people. Many lovers, right? That's what we do as a nation. Now listen, verse 2. Lift up your eyes unto the high places, and see where you have not been lying with. In the ways have not been lying with. In the ways have you sat for them as the Arabian in the wilderness, and you have polluted the land with your whoredoms and with your wickedness. We can all raise our hands. I can raise my hand. We're all guilty, right? We're all guilty. Christianity is idolatry. It's a form of whoredom, right? It's a form of witchcraft. And whenever you see someone who's a harlot, what do they all have in common? They all practice some form of witchcraft. It's all some form of witchcraft because it goes together. Harlotry and witchcraft go together. And a lot of our people fail to understand that. When you have the crystals and the skulls and the incense and all that stuff, and they believe in freedom with sexuality and all of these things and perverseness, right? There's no rules when it comes to witchcraft, right? So then let's go to verse 3. Therefore, the showers have been withholden, and there has been no latter rain. And you have a whore's forehead. You refuse to be ashamed. This is our people. This is our mark. This is Israel, right? We have a whore's forehead. We refuse to be ashamed. We refuse, right? Verse 4. Will you not from this time cry unto me, my Father? You are the guide of my youth. Will he reserve his anger forever? Will he keep it in the end? Behold, you have spoken and done evil things as you could. YAH said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, have you seen that which backsliding Israel has done? She is gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree, and there has played the harlot. Verse 7. And I said after she had done all these things, turn you unto me. But she returned not, and her treacherous sister Judah saw it. So the Most High was willing to take you back in even after we sinned, right? The Most High still wanted you to return, but we still refuse because we're stiff necked and rebellious. That is the signature of our people, right? And then it says in verse 8, and I saw when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. And it came to pass through the lightness of her whoredom that she defiled the land and committed adultery with stones and with stocks. So now you're building idols and you're bowing to these idols made of stone and stocks. Verse 10. And yet for all this her treacherous sister Judah has not turned unto me with her whole heart, but feignedly, saith Yah, or feignedly, because of course we didn't we don't never really mean it when we turn to the Most High, right? Right? We'll say praise God with our mouth. We praise God, but our hearts are not with the Most High, right? In verse 11, and Yah said unto me, the backsliding Israel has justified herself more than treacherous Judah. Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, return, you backsliding Israel, saith Yah, and I will not cause my anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, saith Yah, and I will not keep anger forever. Only acknowledge your iniquity. Only acknowledge your iniquity. Right? Acknowledge your iniquity, that you have transgressed against Yah your Elohim, and have scattered your ways to the strangers under every green tree, and you have not obeyed my voice, saith Yah. Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yah, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. And I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. And it shall come to pass, when you be multiplied and increased in the land in those days, saith Yah, they shall say no more, the ark of the covenant of Yah. Neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it. Neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done anymore. So that's more confirmation that the Jews who say that they are the true Jews are really not the true Jews, because they still practice the traditions of the Ark of the Covenant of Yah. Verse 17. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of Yah, and all the nations shall be gathered unto it, to the name of Yah, to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil heart. because we love to walk in our own imagination. We get taken over by our own imagination and not reality, because reality is prophecy and what's happening right now. So it says in verse 18, in those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. But I said, how shall I put you among the children, and give you a pleasant land, a goodly heritage of the hosts of nations? And I said, you shall call me my father, and shall not turn away from me. Surely as a wife treacherously departed from her husband, so have you dealt treacherously with me. See, the Most High is using um, allegory in that text, right? Um, we are like a treacherous wife, right? We are like uh, a woman put away. We are like uh, harlots, because that is what we represent. And the ultimate harlotry is idolatry, and that harlotry upholds witchcraft. It goes hand in hand. That's what it is, y'all. And we have to let it go. We've been doing this for centuries. So now and we have to do everything righteously. We have to learn to do things the right way and correct ourselves. Verse 21 says, a voice was heard upon the high places weeping and supplications of the children of Israel, for they have perverted their way, and they have forgotten Yah their Elohim. Return, ye backsliding children, and I will heal your backslidings. Behold, we come unto you, for you are Yah our Elohim. Truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills and from the multitude of mountains. Truly in Yah our Elohim is the salvation of Israel. For shame has devoured the labor of our fathers from our youth, their flocks and their herds, their sons and their daughters. We lie down in our shame, and our confusion covers us, for we have sinned against Yah our Elohim, we and our fathers, from our youth even unto this day, and have not obeyed the voice of Yah our Creator. Even unto this day, even in 2025, we refuse. So, um, let's go to let's talk about is it in Deuteronomy? No, that's not that one. It's gonna be a smooth transition. But okay, here it is right here. Um Now let's go to Deuteronomy 28. I know it's Deuteronomy 28, but I wanted to know what verse it was. It's verse 53. Deuteronomy 28, verse 53. And it reads, "And you shall eat the fruit of your own body, the flesh of your sons and of your daughters, which YAH your Elohim has given you in the siege, and in the straitness wherewith your enemies shall distress you, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave." So this right here, um, the Most High is actually um, putting accountability, right, on fathers, um, right here. But this is also a part of our curses, right? Because it tells us in this prophecy that the father is going to leave the remnant of his children. That everyone knows that that has been a problem in predominantly black societies for a very long time. So, verse 55 says, "So that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat." Right? So, we've been doing this ever since we went into captivity. It's just been the same cycle over and over and over. We've been repeating a cycle, right? Generational curses. "And in the straitness wherewith your enemies shall distress you in all your gates." And check this out, verse 56. "The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter," right? "And toward her young one that comes out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith your enemies shall distress you in your gates." So the Most High tells you to even the woman is going to be against you. She's going to look at you with an evil eye. She's going to look at her children with an evil eye. These were a part of our curses too. And when we learn to accept that these are a part of our curses, then we'll start to get somewhere. But acceptance is a part of healing. Acceptance is a part of healing. It's it's okay. It wasn't okay when it was happening, but it's okay now when you make a change and you decide, you know what? I don't want to do this evil thing anymore. I'm turning away from it. I want to do the right thing. Right? So you have to accept that this is how our people have always been since we turned our backs on the Elohim. Let me put it that way. Since we turned our backs on our creator, right? But we all have a responsibility, men and women. We all have a responsibility. Um However, let's go to Hosea 4. Let's go to Hosea 4. Okay. So in Hosea 4, let's start at let's start in verse 12. Okay. And it reads, "My people ask counsel at their stocks, and their staff declareth unto them, for the spirit of whoredoms has caused them to err, and they have gone a whoring from under their Elohim." Right? So we've gone and started worshiping other gods. In verse 13, it says, "They sacrifice unto or upon the tops of the mountains, and burn incense upon the hills." under oaks and poplars and elms, because the shadow thereof is good. Therefore your daughters shall commit whoredom, and your spouses shall commit adultery. I will not punish your daughters when they commit whoredom, nor your spouses when they commit adultery, for themselves are separated with whores, and they sacrifice with harlots. Therefore the people that does not understand shall fall. Right? So the Most High is telling us that the men are responsible again right here, right? The daughters won't be punished, right? For playing the whore or the harlot. The spouses won't be punished for committing adultery because the men have uh, separated themselves with them. The men are not walking right, right? And we all know that the men have been the leaders since the very beginning. Since the very beginning. In Genesis chapter 2. And in Genesis chapter 3, I'm sorry, in Genesis chapter 3, in verse 16, where the Most High says, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow you shall bring forth children, and your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. Right? So the men have been in charge since the curse happened. But then go to the previous chapter, because I know a lot of people think that Eve was just made to be under her husband and just to bow down and to serve him and submit and all of these things. But if you go to Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24, the Most High says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. You're not one flesh with someone who's beneath you. You're not one flesh with your servant or your maid or your slave. You're not one flesh with them. This is before the curse of Eve, right? You're not one flesh, and you're still going to be one flesh with her even after the curse, right? But you're never one flesh with anybody except your spouse. That's it. So that's not somebody that is beneath you, right? And when you go to uh where is it? Here we go. Um up in verse 17 of chapter 2, it says, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it, for in that day that you eat thereof you shall surely die. And Yah Elohim said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. So down in verse 20, there were no helpmeets found for him of the animals, right? Because an animal is something that you own. An animal is property. An animal is merchandise, right? There wasn't a helpmeet that was found for him. Um, so Eve had to be created as a helpmeet. And there's no sense in people arguing about if a man or a woman came first. Why? Because at the end of the day, because I believe the whole word is pure. But some people, they like to argue, well, the woman, that either way it goes, at the end of the day, neither one is the creator. Neither one is God. So what difference would it make? Seriously. So a helpmeet is someone who's a partner, right? A helpmeet is not uh, a slave or something that you own. A helpmeet supports you, right? Y'all are one flesh. They help you. They don't hurt you, and they don't worship you either. They worship the Most High Yah. So let's go back to uh, okay, we didn't go there yet. All right, let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs chapter. You know what? You know what, y'all? You know what? Mm, 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 mm. Hmm. Okay. Okay, fine. Let's go to Exodus. Or no, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7. And just to clarify, because I know in another video I covered this, what I was talking about with the merchandise. That's in Deuteronomy 21, verse 14. I'm going to go there real quick and then we're going to go back to Exodus. So, Deuteronomy 21, verse 14. And it reads, oh, let's start at verse 13. And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in your house and bewail her father and mother a full month. And after that you shall go in unto her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. And this is talking about the women who were spoils of war, right? If you don't understand that, then uh, you can read about more about it in Deuteronomy, the whole chapter of 21. Now, um, in verse 14 it says, and it shall be, if you have no delight in her, then you shall let her go whither she will, but you shall not sell her at all for money. You shall not make merchandise of her, because you have humbled her, right? Meaning you laid with her. You are um you were married to her, right? So you don't treat her like a slave. You don't treat her like merchandise. The men have to be right. You have to lead in righteousness. And I know that there are brothers that are leading in righteousness, but I know that all of them are not. You know, all of the men are not leading in righteousness. We all know that because look at Donald Trump. Seriously. Okay, that's the perfect example, right? Now, let's go to um Exodus. Did I say Exodus or Proverbs? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's go to Exodus 23. Exodus 23. I'm going to get on y'all in a minute. Hold on. I'm going to get on the women in a minute. But right now, we got to talk about who's in charge, right? Exodus 23. So, Exodus 23 and verse 32, it says, "You shall make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto you." It's a trap, right? So this is talking about marrying your enemies, the enemy nations, right? The Most High is talking to the leaders of Israel. You don't marry into them, right? Sons or daughters. Okay. Now, did it have anything to do with their skin complexion? Of course not. Did it have anything to do with their race? No, absolutely not. It has everything to do with turning astray from a righteous law, because the people that you're integrating with don't follow the righteous law as a whole. Now, individuals can decide, I want to follow a righteous law, and then they become one with Israel, right? Because we all know that Ruth was a Moabite woman, and guess what? She joined Israel, right? So that's possible. But the Most High said, do not just go out there just because you see somebody that you deem as attractive, and you just run that way, because you don't know what you're getting yourself into unless you know that this person's heart and you know who this person worships and what they worship. Okay, so let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter 7. And let's start at verse 1. So it says, "When Yah your Elohim shall bring you into the land whither you goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before you, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than you. And when Yah your Elohim shall deliver them before you, you shall smite them, and utterly destroy them. You shall make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shall you make marriages with them. Your daughter you shall not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall you take unto your son. For they will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of Yah be kindled against you, and destroy you suddenly." And what has happened to our people today? We have been destroyed. We've been destroyed. Why? Not because we married other races. We were destroyed because we turned our backs on the Elohim to worship the idols, the gods of other nations. Do you understand? That goes for people who claim to worship Christ or Yeshua, or people who claim that they worship the God of Islam, or the people who claim that they worship the God of Buddhism, or any idol, any god of any religion, and not the creator of the earth, and not the creator of the earth who has a perfect law. Because if everybody went by the law of the creator, we would have peace on earth. So it is um, our refusal to do the right thing. And what would be one of the right things? Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Hold on, let me pull it up. Okay. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. This is the whole duty of man. And if that's all you have to do, then you shouldn't have a problem with marriage. You shouldn't have a problem with finding the right person. But we all have a problem because the world wants to walk in wickedness. We want to walk contrary to the Most High's laws. So I also wanted to talk about what a rebellious woman looks like. A lot of people think that a rebellious woman is a woman who doesn't want to be bothered and she wants to have a bunch of cats. And, I'm here to speak up for those women because let me tell you something. I used to own a cat myself, right? I was a part of that community, but I will say this. Um, they're wise enough to separate themselves from the chaos that's going on out there. And there are men who don't get acknowledged for that either. There are cat men or dog men, right? It's like they separate themselves because they're wise enough to stay out of the midst of the drama, right? And so we don't bash and beat those people down. They're not hurting anyone, at least that we can see, right? So why would you bash them? Um, no, let's talk about froward behavior because we don't seem to understand what froward behavior looks like. Like what we just read in Hosea 4, that was froward. That was frowardness, the whoredom, the harlotry, uh, contention. Those are the things that make a stiff-necked woman, right? Not because she has a brain and she has a good heart or a spirit and she doesn't want to continue to get abused by the wickedness going on out there. So she separates herself, right? Um, let's see, Proverbs. Okay, Proverbs 14 and 1. This is for the men. Every wise woman builds her house, but the foolish woman plucks it down with her hands. That's something to take, note of. Think about that. If you have a woman who is constantly um, complaining and gossiping and trying to tear other people down and just negative, all around toxic and negative, that is a woman that is plucking her house apart. Okay? And so this can be for women too. If you are that type of woman, take a seat, step back a little bit, look in the mirror and make some adjustments, right? If you know that, you can't get along with anyone, I understand. I used to be that woman, right? And I understand that a lot of us are probably hurt, but you need to step back and you need to um, start fixing and healing what's going on inside of you so that you can be a more positive person, a better person, right? All of that negativity, it'll drain you, it'll suck the life out of you. To be pessimistic all the time is not healthy at all. So then let's go to Proverbs 21. As a matter of fact, oh, no, I don't want to do that one. Is it Proverbs 21 and 2? No. Mm-mm. Okay, yeah. Let's go to Proverbs 12 and 5. Proverbs 12 and 5. All right, so Proverbs 12 and 5 says, "The thoughts of the righteous are right." This is for both men and women. "The thoughts of the righteous are right, but the counsels of the wicked are deceit. The words of the wicked are to lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright shall deliver them." So, when you're dealing with someone, right, who is wicked, because all their thoughts are wicked. The stuff that they post is wicked. The stuff they text is wicked. The stuff they always talk about is wicked. It's always wickedness, 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 sin, 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 sin. Everything is about sinning. And it's never about, you know what, hey, let's go do something right. Right? It's always let's go sin. Let's go sin. Let's go do wickedness. Right? That's all their thoughts. So you don't have to complain. Because when you realize that you're dating a man or a woman, right, that they're coming at you with this wickedness, you can spot it right off the bat. You don't need anyone to tell you. The red flag is the wickedness. You see the wickedness. People they can only put up a front for so long unless they're just not going to ever talk. And most people talk in relationships. So, no, and their actions are going to tell a lot more than their words even, right? So it's not hard. It's not about men or women. It's about wickedness. It's about righteousness. That's what it's about. It's about keeping the law. The Most High doesn't want you to turn from the righteous laws. And that's why the relationships don't work out because we are so divided. The problem is what they call individuality. It's covered up as individuality, but it's really just do as thou wilt. And having all these different ideologies. If the world is not under one ruler, and that's the creator of the world, then how do you expect to ever have peace? Peace comes from the one who created it. All right, so let's go to Proverbs 11 and 17. And it says, "The merciful man does good to his own soul, but he that is cruel troubles his own flesh. The wicked works a deceitful work, but to him that sows righteousness shall be a sure reward." There's all kinds of rotten fruit springing up in the world right now from wickedness, and it's polluting the whole earth. So verse 19 says, "As righteousness tends to life, so he that pursues evil pursues it to his own death. They that are of a froward heart are an abomination. They are abomination to Yah. But such as are upright in their way are his delight. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. As a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, so is a fair woman which is without discretion. The desire of the righteous is only good, but the expectation of the wicked is wrath. There is that scattereth and yet increaseth, and there is that withholdeth more than is meet, but it tends to poverty. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that waters shall be watered also himself. He that withholds corn, the people shall curse him, but blessing shall be upon the head of him that sells it. He that diligently seeks good procureth favor, but he that seeks mischief, it shall come unto him. And what is mischief? Hmm? What is mischief? It is a bad behavior, right? It's a bad behavior. And if you're looking for bad behaviors, you're gonna find it. If you're going after things that are bad, you're gonna find it. Right? And you can't complain because that's what you were seeking. You weren't seeking the creator. You weren't seeking righteous laws, right? You were seeking the desires of your own evil heart. So you can't really be mad at anyone but yourselves. And that's what I had to learn. I had to be mad at myself. And once you learn to turn that pain inward and stop putting it out, it won't grow. When you put it back inside, now you can start to eradicate it because now it's in a controlled environment and you control it because it's in you. You can't control nobody else, right? So it's all very simple. It's all very simple, even though it can be hard sometimes. And you try hard. You say, I don't want them to turn me back into the old me, but we've come too far to go backwards. Right? My mom told me something today, and one thing that I love about my mom is always giving a teaching lesson, right? And she, you are absolutely right, but you don't really think about it in that sense, right? Like we say it all the time. We say it all the time, but to really put it into that perspective and understand, you have to really do some self reflection. You have to look at yourself in the mirror. The more that you know, the more you learn, the more you grow, and then you'll do better, right? So it starts with us. It always starts with us. What can I do? And that's the thing. What can I do to make the world a better place? What can I do to make the world a better place? Forget about those people, right? Because there's going to be a certain um, percentage of people who decide, or a certain sector of people who decide that they just want to be rebellious. And guess what? That's going to be destroyed because it's crumbling as we speak. It's already being destroyed. The evil system, everything is being destroyed right now. This kingdom is being destroyed. But ask yourself what you can do, right? What can I do to better myself? What can I do to help others? What can I do for my creator? What can I do? And it's for all of us to be humble. Moses was the most humble man that ever lived. And let's go to Second Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. I love this one. Okay, Second Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. And the Most High says, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves. So it's not about one gender being humble and the other being down. No, all of us are supposed to be humble. She's supposed to be humble. He's supposed to be humble. And we're all supposed to be humble before the Creator. And that is how you have peace. Right? Let's go to Proverbs 12 and verse 15. It says, the way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkens unto counsel is wise. So that's the sign of a righteous man, ladies. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that listens unto counsel is wise, because that man is strategic. He actually thinks. He doesn't just try to control. He thinks things through, right? Listen to the things coming out of his mouth. Once again, if you're dealing with a man that's not thinking things through and he's only one track minded and he's only thinking about one thing, he's not wise. All right, and then we go to verse 8, and it says, a man shall be, in chapter 12 of Proverbs, a man shall be commended according to his wisdom, but he that is of a perverse heart shall be despised. Is that not true? That's always been true since the beginning of time. We have to get it right at some point, people. All of us. Verse 5 in chapter 12 of Proverbs says, "The thoughts of the righteous are right, but the counsels of the wicked are deceit." The thoughts of the righteous are right. So if he's saying the right thing, if she's saying the right thing, then there shouldn't be a problem. If you're with someone whose thoughts are not right, whose thoughts are wicked, and they're bent on destruction and wickedness, then you walk away. Don't complain about it. Do something about it. Leave them alone and let them self destruct. But a good person always wants to help, and that's good. But you have to do it from a distance. I don't care if it's friends, family, whoever. If that person is destroying everything around them, you have to get away. All right? Psalms, Psalm 34. Psalm 34 and 14. It says, "Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it." Very clear instructions. Depart from evil and do good. Depart from evil and do good. It's that simple. We don't have to keep on. We can change. If you can't control your thoughts and you continue on a wicked path, you're not strong, you're weak. You want me to tell you why you're weak? Because all of us have wicked thoughts. All of us have wicked thoughts go pass through our minds. All of us do. All of us have wicked desires as well. It's called being a human. But you know what? Those of us who can control it are not weak. Just like the sin at the threshold coming up trying to rule over Cain. But Cain was told he needs to rule over it, right? If you cannot rule over your own wicked thoughts and do good and do right, you are weak. And it's as simple as that. It's not just about um, the physical, it's about the things that you can't see because it starts with a thought. Everything that we do starts with a thought, a desire to do something, or a desire not to do something. But that's what it starts with. And if you can't control the desires of your heart and your evil imagination and not act on those things because that's what you feel from emotions, you can't control that, then you're not strong. You have some working out to do spiritually. All right? There's clearly a separation going on, guys. Clearly a separation. Because in the beginning, the curse that was on Eve was to uh, be ruled over by her husband. And a lot of uh, men in certain uh, categories don't agree with that. They're like, oh, or they don't agree with what women are doing today and separating from evil men. I don't think a lot of them mind the whores because they're still whoremongers. But what they don't like are the good women getting away, right? They don't like that. Um, but let me tell you something. Your heart is going to go where it desires. And so it's going to match with the energy that y'all believe, right? It's going to match with who you're meant to really be with. And with women turning away, and do you believe that that curse of Eve will be forever? I know that the serpent's curse is to eat dust all the days of his life, right? But look at the curse that was given to Adam, for instance. Like, Adam was told that he was going to have to till the ground, and from the sweat of his brow, he had to eat, you know, um, hard labor. But why is it that so many of the youth, the young men, have fallen out of the labor force? Why is it that so many of them are ending up on the streets homeless? Right? Think about these things. Think about it. The Most High says he's going to bring something new to the earth, right? So, and man is going to be more rare than the gold of Ophir. So, you have to consider a lot of these things. A lot of things that we have to study, a lot of things we have to meditate on and go to the Most High about, because there are a lot of things that we haven't been uh, told yet. A lot of things that we're not going to really understand, right? Until the Most High comes and explains everything that's happening. And I was saying all that to say in Malachi 3 and verse 14, it says, "You have said, it is vain to serve Elohim. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before YAH of hosts? And now we call the proud happy. Yeah, they that work wickedness are set up. Yeah, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. Then they that feared YAH spake often one to another, and YAH hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared YAH, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, saith YAH of hosts, in that day, when I wake up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spares his own son that serves him. Then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serves Elohim and between him that serves him not." So that's a really great separation right there. We're supposed to be separating right now because the Most High's prophecy tells us when we return, we're going to be able to discern between righteous and wicked, right? And so there's a separation process occurring. So to say that a woman is supposed to just listen to any man is foolishness. And to say that a man is not supposed to think that he has a good thing because he has a good wife is foolishness. That's all foolishness. Because what's really happening, Yes, the men are the leaders. And so, of course, in this quote unquote gender war, they're going to be leading in that too. But it's the wicked ones leading. You see, there are righteous men and there are wicked men. Now, I can say, um, some men have some men are justified in how they feel about the current state of dating. Same with women, vice versa. Because everyone is just bent on evil. Everyone is bent on evil. And some people don't have anybody to talk to about it. They have no one to vent to about. And I know that can be frustrating because I have a support system. I have the Most High, I have my mother, I have my family, right? I have that. A lot of people are not fortunate enough to have that, right? And so I can understand how that can get really frustrating. But again, my best advice to anyone who is frustrated about what's happening today, whether you are a Gen Zer or older, um, just separate yourself and focus on your source, because that's how you're going to find your tribe. Separate yourself, focus on your source, do the right thing, focus on the Most High, focus on the Creator, focus on doing righteousness, doing the right thing, and then everything else will fall into place. Because the power of righteousness is always more powerful than wickedness. This earth, if you look at the earth was not made to, how can I put this? The earth was not made just to die. The earth was made for growth. Don't you see everything on the earth grows? Everything on the earth grows. It's not meant to just stay stagnant and backslide and keep going backwards. It's meant to evolve. It's meant to go forward. It's meant to grow. So that should tell you that everything that lives on it is meant to grow, including people, humans. And at some point, we have to grow. And the growth spurts are painful, right? But this is a growth spurt, and a lot of people don't like it. But the earth, the people, the righteous, we were made to grow. All right. Um, we talked about the whole duty of man, right? Let's go back to Psalm 34 and 8. Psalm 34 and 8. So, Psalm 34 and 8 says, "Oh, taste and see that Yah is good. Blessed is the man that trusts in him, not in man." See, blessed is the man that trusts in Yah. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Creator. That is the person who's going to be blessed. The one who trusts in the Creator, the one who created you. And the reason I got on Israel first in the beginning of the video is because we are just like the men were made the head of the household, Israel as a nation was made the head of the earth, right? And so if Israel goes backwards and backslide, and Israel is irresponsible, it's like the big sibling. If you're not babysitting and looking out for your little siblings and making sure that they're not tearing up and destroying, that's going to fall on you. It always has. It's going to fall on us. It's our responsibility. It is. Because you represent the Most High on earth. You're a representative, a divine representative. But now things are going back to how things were originally when the Most High made Eve, when the Most High made Adam, when the Most High made man and woman in the beginning. It was a partnership. It wasn't a cursed thing. It wasn't a result of something that we did to transgress the Most High law, the Most High's law, or disobey the Most High. The very beginning was a partnership. The very beginning, we were one flesh, as we're supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. She's not beneath you, she's not above you. He's not above you, he's not beneath you. We're one. And we rule over the earth together. And we grow together. And we live in peace and harmony. And we're all humble before our Creator. How do you know what a righteous woman looks like? Hmm. How do you know what a righteous woman looks like? Let's go to everybody's favorite Proverbs 31. Let's start at Proverbs 31 and 10. It says, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need to spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life." Right? All the days of her life. That's a good woman, right? And the good man is righteous because he'll do the same for her. That comes naturally. It should come naturally. Verse 31 and 26, it says, she opens her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. So if she doesn't have the law of kindness in her mouth, if it's always something perverse or wicked, same thing with the wicked man. All his thoughts are evil, all his thoughts are wicked. And these are um, the rebellious. So it's just a matter of us learning that we have to work on our ourselves. We got to work on changing ourselves because the whole world, everybody just be going at each other's throats. And I'll just be like, look, if everybody just calm down, separated themselves, and focus on the Creator, meditate on righteousness, everything would fall in line, right? It seems like it would be that simple, but it's really not, unfortunately. But I guess we could talk about this subject more some more later. Um, yeah, we can talk about this some more later. I couldn't fit everything into one video today, so praise Yah. I'm glad that I got to discuss this. Hopefully, you got something out of this study. Um, praise Yah. Bless all those trying to do right. And if you're not, I hope that you start trying to do the right thing. Shalom.